The Night Stalker is referred to as one of America's most feared serial killers. Most of the time, these killers have a repeated pattern, but Richard Ramirez, named the Night Stalker by the press, was a cyclone of random carnage and cruelty. Welcome back to Documentary Recap. In today's video, we'll be going through a true crime 4-part documentary miniseries about the fearful serial killer Richard Ramirez, named Night Stalker: The Hunt for a Serial Killer from the year 2021. The documentary opens in a thriving Los Angeles, where the 1984 Olympics are being held. The Queen and Pope have recently visited, and crime is on the way. However, things quickly go bleak when the city is terrorized by an active serial killer linked to dozens of heinous killings. The Night Stalker, subsequently identified as Richard Ramirez, was a serial kidnapper, burglar, rapist, and murderer who terrorized the city from the spring of 1984 until his arrest on August 31, 1985. To analyze those bleak months in Southern California, the documentary mostly draws on interviews with survivors, police officers, and news videos. There are also highlights of the wider Los Angeles area's frustration and dread throughout the months the Night Stalker eluded capture. It is mostly recounted from the perspectives of detectives Gil Carrillo and his seasoned partner Frank Salerno, as well as family members of victims and survivors. The focus is on the crimes, the evidence, the investigation, and the lives that Ramirez ruined and took, with his name not being revealed until the 3rd episode, and his face not being shown until the 4th and final edition. Richard Ramirez, the youngest of 5 siblings, was born in El Paso, Texas in 1960. When Richard's cousin Miguel Ramirez returned home from the Vietnam War when Richard was 12, he showed him images of Vietnamese women he claimed he had raped, tortured, and killed, according to the New York Times. He saw his cousin shoot his wife in the face and kill her when he was 13 years old. When he was 15, he dropped out of school and moved to Los Angeles, where he began burglarizing homes to support his heroin addiction. In 1981 and 1984, he was imprisoned twice for auto theft and spent many months in jail. At the time of his first known murder, Richard Ramirez was 24 years old. Night Stalker tells a story of how he broke into people's houses at night and assaulted men, women, and children, sexually abusing, mutilating, and murdering unwitting Californians. He tortured his victims with knives, hammers, tire irons, thumb cuffs, and guns, often leaving pentagrams or other occult symbols on the walls of his crime sites. His photograph was published to the media following the long, exhausting quest recounted in Night Stalker, and he was apprehended near the end of the summer of 1985 after a bystander recognized him on a bus. The televised trial of Ramirez began in 1989 and continued for several weeks. A Southern California radio station quoted Frank Girardot, a journalist who covered the trial for the Los Angeles Herald-Examiner, as saying that there was a lot of gory testimony and a lot of theatrics by the defendant. He would smile at them while drawing pentagrams in his palm and holding it up for the cameras. He was well aware that he was surrounded by a cult-like following of Satanists and suitors, and he planned to put on a show for them. A juror was found attacked and shot inside her home at one point during the already traumatic trial. Her lover committed suicide shortly after, leaving a note admitting to killing her. Ramirez's defense team did not offer a possible explanation for his client's heinous actions, claiming in court that he didn't want to lay his life out for the public and the court to judge. At the conclusion of the trial, he was found guilty of all charges leveled against him, including 13 murders, 5 attempted murders, 11 sexual assaults, and 14 burglaries. He never apologized for his acts. "Big deal," he told the journalists after he was sentenced to death. "Death always went with the territory. See you in Disneyland." Throughout his trial and years in prison, he drew the affections of several women, as the documentary demonstrates. What the documentary fails to mention is that he married one of his admirers while incarcerated. Richard Ramirez married freelance magazine editor Doreen Loy in 1996. When she first saw him on television following his incarceration in 1985, she began mailing messages to him. Even after her family shunned her, she wrote to him every day, visited him in prison, and attended his trial. He finally died of cancer in 2013 at the age of 53 after spending 23 years on death row in California's San Quentin prison. What are your thoughts about this documentary? Comment below.